So, what ails Pakistan cricket? Why is a proud cricketing nation up in arms? Defeats to India and Australia aren't unexpected, but why has the loss to Afghanistan triggered another period of soul searching? We try to break down the factors behind Pakistan's decline. Now, the problems start at the very top. Not the extremely political Pakistan Cricket Board, but at the highest seat of government. The Prime Minister of Pakistan is the patron of the PCB, and the head of the Cricket Board has invariably been a political appointee. 1992 World Cup winning captain Imran Khan appointed his former teammate Ramiz Raja to the job in September 2021. Raja was just the third Test cricketer to head the PCB after Abdul Hafiz Kardar and Ijaz Butt. Raja ushered in a wave of reforms and tried to shake up the structure of domestic cricket, but his time was up when Khan's premiership came to an end and he was replaced by Najam Sethi, who swiftly went about dismantling all that Raja had attempted to change. Sethi has since been replaced by Zaka Ashraf just ahead of the World Cup. Lack of planning has been a perennial problem in Pakistan cricket. The team in India has looked listless and fielding has been schoolboyish at times. Former players have questioned the wisdom of a 3-month tour on and off of Sri Lanka, which also included the Hybrid Asia Cup. Pakistan didn't rotate players, and in contrast, India have benched key players in a bid to have them fit and refreshed heading into the World Cup. And that's why India have won 5 in 5. The coaching setup is also rather fluid. Grant Bradburn is the head coach, but the man actually in charge is Mickey Arthur. Arthur turned down the full-time head coach role as he's got a contract with Derbyshire in English domestic cricket, and he juggles both responsibilities. Now, it's being reported in certain sections of the Pakistani media that no fitness tests have been conducted in the last 2 years. And then there is also the other big problem that's affecting other international teams. Pakistan players play a lot of T20 cricket, both for country as well as leagues across the world. And this comes at the cost of first-class cricket. And finally, those rumors of a divided team and a rift within the dressing room don't go away, do they? Our cricket expert, Sri Lanka's 1996 World Cup winning coach and a former Pakistan coach as well, Dave Watmore, here in the studio with me. Anas Malik, our Pakistan bureau chief, is going to be joining us from Islamabad. Anas, you're a man on the ground. I know you've got a grin on your face, but for the PCB to put out a second statement backing Babar Azam, but also saying, they're also washing their hands of the situation, saying, you know what, Inzamam and Babar are the ones who are given a free hand to choose this Pakistan team. Don't blame us.
Well, that's just bad PR. Whosoever is advising the PCB should actually be taking note of it, because in the middle of a tournament, you've put out not one but 2 statements. First, trying to douse the fire, which talked about some rifts within the team, and now trying to again take a higher moral ground by saying, well, we're backing the captain, but this is the captain's call. Amid talks that the captain will be removed if Pakistan does not make it through to the semi-finals, as in when the team comes back. Now, that increases the pressure situation. I was listening to what you were saying just a short while back on the read. There's another interesting factor. You know, when the teams were preparing for the World Cup, what the chief selector of Pakistani cricket team and the World Cup captain were doing, they were negotiating with the cricket board for a new payment contract. I mean, that's just bonkers if you think of it, because the contract is supposed to be renewed in June and it wasn't renewed up until what, October, and that also had an impact. Pakistani players had been playing a lot of league cricket. That too has been having an impact. Now the new contract specifies them to only play 2 leagues abroad, and have a share of the PCB revenue. But that's a little too late, at least for now.
Okay, but what are you hearing? Why are these talks of strife within the team not going away? What are you hearing? What are you picking up? Because there's no smoke without fire, and the fact that there have been two statements clearly tells me, sitting here on the outside, Dav has coached as well, Pakistan, that there is a lot of divide in the team. Can you back that up?
Well, if you look at the Pakistani domestic infrastructure, and I'm not talking about the first class one, I'm talking about this particular league that the Pakistani Cricket Board hosts, the Pakistan Super League. You've got three captains in the team right now. You've got Mohammad Rizwan, who's headed Multan Sultans in a T20 format and won it in the Pakistan Super League. You've got Shaheen Shah Afridi, who's headed Lahore Qalandars as a captain and won it. And then you've got Babar Azam. So you've got three different captains, and all are setting their eyes for the captaincy bid. So in the presence of three captains on the field, the actual captain is nowhere to be seen, because his authority inevitably gets undermined. We heard that video clip that was sent out from the PCB last night, where we saw that the boys were training and Babar was giving a pep talk, saying that you've done that before, you've done an uplift before, you can do it again, and he has faith in the team. But fact of the matter is that the PCB has been denying it. But again, as you rightly said, there's no smoke without fire. So the fire remains. There has been talk of a rift in a section of the Pakistani media, which the PCB continues to deny.
Okay, let's get in Dav Watmore. Dav, you've coached this Pakistan team, but while he's talking of what we are hearing from the team in India, you know what goes on in the corridors of power. There's clearly no continuity. The domestic structure is a mess. Ramiz Raja tried to overhaul it. The new chairman comes, tosses it off. He said, no, not happening. And there are three chairmen in 2 years. Is that the big problem in Pakistan?
It's one of the problems, for sure. What happens is that when every time there's a change of chairmanship, the new person coming in, they try to do it their own way. They want to put their own stamp on it. And there hasn't been too many new faces. There's been three, right? Ramiz Raja, Zakir Ashraf and Nanjam Sethi. And it happened to me right in the middle. I was signed up by Zakir Ashraf, and then he was ousted, and in comes Nanjam Sethi. And once that happens, you sort of know you're skating on thin ice, because always the new chairman wants to do things differently, their own way, and it wasn't a very pleasant time for me personally. So I know what, it's not easy, because people want to make their own change. The last thing I think goes on is that they're not really concerned with the team itself and the cricket. They just want to change everything so they can say, see, I did it, and hope like hell that it works.
But we're trying to also figure out what's the reason for this decline. The Sri Lanka 3 months there has sort of is something which is being brought up as well. But are they playing too much T20? Because what's happening is, when the bowlers are not playing that much of first-class cricket, they're looking sort of undercooked when it comes to 10 overs, especially in the heat that we've seen in the first half of this tournament.
Yeah, and also, Diggy, historically the boys haven't been paid that well. So to supplement their income, they go and play in these franchise leagues that pop up and becoming more and more frequent. So now these guys who are good players and get good money for it, they're going to be missing from their domestic. So now the PCB are saying, no, hang on, we're only going to let you play twice. So, historically not being paid well and going out to earn their money, there's some efforts now to raise the...
As he was saying.
Raise the salaries to ensure everyone's a little bit happier and more comfortable. But these things, add up.
Okay. Anas, let's get you back in. There's another big question that needs to be answered. Will the Pakistan Prime Minister, his office, his advisors ever accept responsibility? Because it's like a quango. Everybody wants to be PCB chairman, but they may not have the expertise to become PCB chairman. I quoted just 3 former test cricketers have headed it. Surely they can learn from India, who despite the divisions in Indian cricket have a vibrant domestic structure. And that's the reason why India is dominating world cricket in terms of finances, even the team at this World Cup.
Well, nobody wants to take responsibility, Digvijay. You know, this current chairman, who is the chairman of the management committee of the PCB, his tenure is due to expire on the 5th of November. The end on the 5th of November, that is the right word. But he is seemingly getting another extension up until the elections. The elections are slated to be held sometime in January. So we're looking another overhaul in the Pakistan Cricket Board sometime in February again. Now, you know, if you analyze it objectively, just 3 months, 4 months down the line, who would want to revamp or put their hand into a beehive, knowing that there are some factors and there are some irritants who would not let the domestic overall happen. And then, of course, as Dav rightly pointed out, it is the pay structure as well. You've got tons of cricketers who are employed by these domestic organizations such as the Pakistan International Airlines, such as the SSGC, this ESNGPL, and then what they do is they hire these cricketers on a contract, and then they end up working for those companies as well, so to keep their household running. This sort of a model, Ramiz Raja rightly overhauled it. He went into a much more provincial approach with regards to first class, but the first thing that Nadam Sethi did was scrap that model. To him, that was not sustainable. To Imran Khan, this model, the current model that is applicable, in which Quaid-e-Azam Trophy is currently ongoing, that is not sustainable. So unless we have a broader consensus on how cricket would be working and producing gentle grassroots cricketers, until then there cannot be improvement in Pakistani cricket.
Okay, Anas, thank you for joining us with those inputs.